puff, puff pardon. It is long overdue, with President Joe Biden announcing executive action to pardon thousands of Americans convicted of marijuana possession under federal law just on Thursday. And look, while there aren't any people currently doing time in federal prisons solely for cannabis possessions, these pardons will wipe away the criminal records holding back many Americans who paid their debt to society, and it will allow them to find jobs, go back to school, and get federal benefits, which they do deserve. Joining me now is Max Markham. He's the Vice President of Policy and Community Engagement at the Center for Policing Equity. Max, very happy to have you here. Look, this is a policy that I personally care very much about, and from an equity perspective, I wonder if you could talk about the significance of Biden's pardon announcement and really what it means for the 6,000 plus Americans who will have their records wiped away. And I want to note the difference in this federal policy. There are still a lot of people in state prison and people subject to police abuse for, walking down the street smoking weed. And I see people in gentrified neighborhoods doing that all the time, but not a lot of people who look like us. So take it away.
Yeah, and thank you for having me, Tiffany, first of all. I'll say that it was a campaign promise that then candidate Biden made. And generally, folks like people who do what they say they're going to do. Decriminalization of marijuana is a hugely popular issue across the aisle among all demographics. And so I think the federal government has been behind for a long time. It's high time that it catches up. And more importantly, this, as you said, has a significant and practical impact on anyone with a marijuana conviction, either currently or previously. From an equity perspective, it's important to note that both existing convictions and existing criminal penalties need to be reviewed, right? So giving folks a second look. There are additional things that the president has hinted at his administration being ready to do. And I think a lot of folks are looking forward to seeing that.
I completely agree. It is high time that we get rid of this and weed through these policies and get people out of these sticky, icky situations, my friend. All right. I want to shift gears a little bit with you and talk a bit about something that's very concerning, and that is the disproportionate number of black folks in this country who are wrongfully convicted and then exonerated. This was new polling from Axios out last week, and it found the National Registry of Exonerations defendants exonerated after serving at least part of a sentence. It revealed black people represent 13.6% of the American population, but account for 53% of the more than 3,000 exonerations in the registry. Why exactly do you think black people are more likely to get convicted of crimes that they did not, in fact, commit?
One of the reasons, and the report really interestingly points this out, it's quite a startling statistic. The statistics around, in particular, murder exonerations show that black exonerated folks were 50% more likely to have convictions that resulted from police misconduct. To me, that makes it clear that our systems of public safety are failing communities. The root of the problem here is, unfortunately, wrongful and racist application of dehumanization through our criminal legal system. People automatically associate black folks with criminality, with aggressiveness, with danger. This is even the case for black children. We at the Center for Policing Equity have talked extensively about the idea of adultification bias, which is the idea that black children's emotional expressions are frequently perceived as more hostile and dangerous, and actually increases the likelihood that black children will be subject to harsher penalties, whether that's in school or in the criminal legal system. It also, at the end of the day, we all know that black communities have historically been overly subject to heavy-handed policing. That includes, pretextual stops. That includes being brought in. That includes being charged, convictions, and sentencing. So all of these things really move towards the idea that black folks are increasingly committing crimes, and that's simply not the case. Statistics do not back that up.
Yeah, and I wonder what the bigger implications are here, because when you think about what's happening, I mean, we have to think about like the jury pool and what the juries look like. You have to think about prosecutors, district attorneys, judges, et cetera. All of this has an impact on a system that was not designed for a lot of folks who look like us to succeed or even survive. So for folks who are sitting at home thinking, wow, this is so terrible, like what can we do? What's something that regular folks sitting at home right now watching TV can do to impact the justice system like this, outside of voting? Because obviously voting matters, but maybe it's participating in local elections, et cetera. Well, what say you?
Absolutely voting, absolutely participating in local elections, and in fact running for the, what might be considered more low-level positions, school boards, things like that, but also getting involved in community programs. And we're really seeing an increase, luckily, not enough, but an increase in funding and recognition of alternative law enforcement programs, things like community violence intervention programs, things like civilian crisis responses, mental health response teams, and even removing police involvement from low-level traffic stop enforcement. So these are things that require community participation. These are things that require investments. So when folks are elected to those low, medium, or high offices, making sure that they prioritize investments in those, non-law enforcement and sometimes civilian response mechanisms that are proven to be safer for community members, especially Black Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, I worked on a campaign in Baltimore, and there were so many formerly incarcerated individuals in Baltimore that they almost had like a political action committee, and there were actual mayoral debates hosted by the thousands of people who were formerly incarcerated, and candidates had no choice but to show up and answer to them, and it was just striking to see. So I hope I see more of that across the country as well. Max, it was lovely having you here. You'll have to come back very soon. We appreciate it.